It's the thing about setting up a video for yourself. You've got no idea whether you're in frame or not. Hey everyone, I just wanted to do a short video to explain the Hyrox experience that I had in New Zealand just 2 weeks ago. I've been meaning to sit down and really recover it in my own words, but I've just been, as you do when you get back to life, busy. So I went over to New Zealand and I had met Carly and Georgia and Carly's husband Dee, and they picked us up from the airport. Carly has been a foundation member with us right from the get-go, and Carly, I don't know whether you know of her, but Carly, the competitive cookie, she is all about these kind of endurance races. So being connected with her has really opened up a new world for me to explore, be curious, and then definitely challenge myself that I have. So with Hyrox, since it came out in 2023, I've done them all now, where I'm really proud to say that I have had the experience in doing all of the races. Obviously not the pros, because you know. But the first event that we did was 2023 when it came out for Melbourne. Steve-O and I actually did a mixed doubles, and that is with the men's weights. We had no idea what we were going in for. We did the training here at BFT with the progressive style Hyrox specific programming. We had no idea what we were in for. Yes, it definitely got us fit. We went and did the event. Obviously it was the men's weights. Steve pulled his weight, I pulled my weight. The running obviously is a massive 50% of it, maybe even more. And that's where my downfall is the running. I'm not a runner, never have been, don't like it. It's definitely a challenge, and insert all of the bleep moments about running. That's how I feel. But again, I'm still gonna level up and I'm gonna go and do it. So we did that. Not long after the Hyrox event, that was the Saturday that we did it, I had no major sort of thing around my recovery, and I did have a little bit of a niggle in my back, and I was doing the same kind of training that I've always done, my BFT and obviously some heavy compound movements for some other goals that I was working with at the time. And for that first event, I hurt my back. I slipped a disc in my L4, L5, demonstrating a rower here at the studio, and that put me out for 4 months. Boy, did I learn my lesson there in rehab, recovery, and when you say yes to something, what you're saying no to, and you really do need to amplify your recovery if you want to do a Hyrox event or any kind of endurance event. So from that learning and that experience, I was out for 4 months. I had members in here of the gym that are physios, and they definitely helped me to rehab my body and get back to full ability, which I have. It's fantastic. So from there, Hyrox obviously came around for Brisbane the following year, and one of our members had let me know that she didn't feel able to do it for her particular reasons, and I said, girlfriend, let's do it together. So we ended up forming a relay, and that's when we did the relay in Brisbane. Now I loved the relay, and what I liked the most about the relay was that you could just send it. You only had to focus on 2 runs and 2 exercises, and you can break them up. So you can do the run, the exercise, then come back in and tag your friend. Or you can literally do the run, 1 exercise, come back in, tag your teammate, then they can shoot out, go and do theirs, come back in, and you can be in any order that you want to, as long as you and your team do 2 runs and 2 exercises. So of course my 2 exercises on those was the run and the burpee broad jumps, soaked to my soul. And then of course a run and then the wall balls. And my goal for that day was 100 wall balls, unbroken, which I achieved, and it was amazing. So relay really has a spot in my heart because you can have that higher intensity, a little bit faster on your pace, knowing that you've got a lot of rest around it. The following same year, Melbourne, I went to Melbourne and I did a female duo with my best friend Liz down in Melbourne. And again, we absolutely centered in the exercises. I really loved that. But of course, my running let us down, having a slower running time. So I know that my runs need work, and I kind of just sort of caught the bug a little bit to actually start exploring what it takes to improve my running and to help myself to decrease my 1 kilometre times. So from there, the female duo, Liz mentioned to me after the event, and I love this from if you've got a bestie and they level up you, or they level you up and they call it like it is. Liz said to me, we did really well, but you could have pushed harder. And in me is kind of like, fuck yeah, I reckon I can. So then I had set myself up to do Melbourne Hyrox at the end of 2024, but in that period of Brisbane earlier in the year and then Hyrox later in the year, I had a fitness competition, which I did with the FMG for bikini, and it was awesome, but it's a completely different kettle of fish. You're not training for performance, you're not training for strength outcomes, you're simply training for nutrition, dietetics essentially, and aesthetics. So having those two goals absolutely don't blend whatsoever. I set the goal for the Hyrox to keep me moving forward, to reverse and have that exercise or that goal as a bit of a carrot dangler to help me move forward into that next sort of era or chapter of my life. However, when Hyrox Melbourne rolled around, I was in no mental state whatsoever to even think about running around blocks, doing burpee broad jumps and hitting 100 wall balls like I did earlier in the year. I did not have the mental capacity, and I really did need to build my nutrition and my endurance back up. Fast forward now over that Christmas period, coming out of post-comp, bringing my calories back up, feeling really good in my skin. I have been doing the Hyrox training program through BFT leading up to the Brisbane event that I had, I think it was about 6 weeks of training, and then New Zealand hit, and that was the one that I really wanted to do solo. I love the aspect of traveling, and I think that was the big kicker there, to go and do, go and do big things and go and to stretch yourself and step out of your comfort zone. It's the first time that I've left the country by myself. Traveling is such a huge thing for me, because I find that I don't get to do it very often, and in this day and age it's really, really hard and expensive to take a family of 4 anywhere in the world. So solo travel is kind of my thing, and lining it up with a fitness event, catching up with my friends on the other side of the ditch was just awesome, just what the doctor ordered. So I flew over, I was on the same flight as Georgia, but we didn't actually catch up with each other until we were on the other side, and then Carly and Dee picked us up. We had the Hyrox New Zealand event. Ours was on the Sunday, so we watched Dion race on the Saturday and just enjoyed the vibes, and then our race was on the Sunday. One thing that I really did improve on this particular time was having that inner push. Liz telling me that I need to push harder, and then having someone with me in those duo races. You've got someone pushing you along, or you kind of have to match their pace, or they're going to push you along. What I found in the solo race for myself was I could actually find a pace that I could maintain, catch my breath, and I really did feel the recovery benefits of a run. Who even am I? But having those runs, I just made that mental promise to myself that I wasn't going to walk. And honestly, the support that I had behind me, in here and in here, from the BFT Robina crew was just magnanimous would be the word. So much love and so much support. They didn't need to be there, I felt them. And in my mindset when I was on the runs, as much as I wanted to walk, I absolutely did not. I just kept running. Now, my run time pace was pretty shit. I was like, I think my best run was maybe like a 6.5 minute, and I think my worst run was 7 minutes 20. So yeah, I've got a bit of work to do, but I'm doing the things. I'm stepping one foot in front of the other, and I'm expanding my comfort circle, really. So with all of the events and all of the exercises in between, I think I did pretty good. When I look at my times, yes, there can be absolutely improvement, but one thing that I really am taking into these solo events is the workshops and the upskilling that I've received through Erg Army, and just some more attention to detail when it comes to form. When we think of cardiovascular, you kind of think, yeah, just send it, just go, just get it done. But there really is form and technique in cardiovascular movements, and with your energy systems as well. Knowing your energy systems, knowing how to manipulate your energy systems, when to push, when to pull back, and some strategic, I suppose, placement when it comes to leading into a specific exercise and what to do, little tips and tricks, things like that. But I honestly think from doing the 4 of them and having a completely different perspective on how different each Hyrox event feels, the location, and whether you're doing duo, relay, or solo, they are so very different. But there's some key things that you can take away that apply the same whether you're working with a friend or by yourself. So on the way over there, I actually sat next to a gentleman who was doing a pro event there, and he gave me a couple of pointers just flying over. So the power of connection and community really is in the air that Hyrox has brought over to Australia. So I already felt somewhat connected and able to socially speak to this guy about Hyrox and all of the ins and outs and in between. The pointer that he gave me was with the rope pull. as you're going to pull it, you're obviously going to do that squat and stand up maneuver. It's almost like a deadlift, but you're bringing the rope in. But then you have the step back method. But what he did say was to keep the rope to one side. So as you're collecting the length out of the rope and you're standing up to pull, then you're taking a few steps back, staying within that white line. You're actually kicking and sorting that rope over to one side. So you've got a clear path all the way around you. So I definitely put that into action, and that was fantastic. With the ski erg, I really took what Jane had said in the erg army about taking up space, that drop, and that 1-to-2 ratio, using that full triple extension from our ankles, knees, and hips. When I really applied that triple extension and staying committed to the triple extension throughout as well, I really found my rhythm, and I was able to catch my breath and keep that flywheel moving. I can't remember what my time was, but it was definitely good, and there's areas of improvement, but the main thing is the improvement here, rather than seeing a statistic or a number showing you progress, I felt it in my body. So I would call that invisible progress. I was able to execute that movement so much more mindfully, knowing where I was preserving hip flexors, quads, other areas of my body for later on in the race, and then also having that previous experience of a back injury post Hyrox from doing so much and tightening hip flexors and not doing the recovery and potentially executing some of the movements just as fast as you can because you're in a race, not really knowing what to expect afterwards. I think a lot of wisdom comes into play there. So ski erg was one of my favorites alongside of the rower. Having that 1-to-2 ratio, and when I talk about that 1-to-2 ratio, it's the tempo in which we're providing that hip hinge movement. So if you've got a 1 tempo out in the pull or the drop, then you've got a 2 tempo to come back into that catch position. And what I really understood with Jane's workshops was when you do use that hip hinge, you're preserving and saving some other muscle groups in your body. So how I understand it is in that catch position from our rower, when we're in that 11 o'clock position and you're driving out with your quaddies, that is all quads. That's a big power movement. You're coming back into that 1 o'clock position. But then as you fold back correctly, taking that 2 ratio in or a little longer on the way in, you're able to find that hinge, get your quaddies to have a rest, allow your hamstrings to take a little bit of the load, and really switch that placement of the muscles from the front to the back. And I think that made a massive, massive difference in the row that I had at Hyrox Solo. Doing the whole lot yourself, it is an absolute different ball game, and you do have to find that rhythm and stand that test of time. The cardio sessions that we do here at BFT, they teach us how to manipulate your intensity for longer duration efforts. Find your breathing pattern and find that intensity and that work capacity that you can maintain for long periods of time. And with the ski erg and the rower, I really found that, and it felt really good. And when I got off the rower and then had to obviously run through the rock zone, I think I walked for about maybe 7 seconds and then started my run again, knowing that that was the promise to myself that I wanted to do when I did this particular event. So massive thumbs up on the erg army and giving me some skills that I can then use, apply, and then help teach other people to feel the same things that I feel, to then elevate their game as well, and to send that ripple effect of better form out to anyone that comes into our reach. Areas that I definitely need to improve, my farmer's carry. That thing sucked. I didn't run, I walked, and I absolutely took the hands in the front of the horn and I stood upright. I probably wouldn't do that again. I would definitely grab the handles wherever the hell I grab them. I'm going to lean forward, keep my core stacked tight, and attempt to jog. Maybe not run, but I'm going to attempt to jog. Having all of that weight shifted forwards is really going to help me project running forwards. I did last the whole farmer's carry, which was pretty cool. I'm proud of that. In any of the exercises, I didn't stop, I didn't slow down, I just kept a pace and just got to the end. But with my farmer's carry, I walked the whole way. My arms were burning and I just wanted to get through it and not change anything, kind of thing. The burpee broad jumps sucked your soul out of your life, but you know that you have to do them. My method on that one was to rest when I was down on the ground. So 2 feet takeoff, 2 feet landing. Make sure you do the burpee before you do the broad jump. And common sense, guys, if you can jump further, you're going to do less burpees. So that was definitely one I really tried to launch in my burpee broad jumps, and I rested on the ground. I did verbally coach myself out loud. People must have thought I was a bit wacko, because it's tough and you've got to get through it. So I said to myself, get down, get up, jump. Get down, get up, jump on pretty much halfway through the first section and all the way through the second section. And I even found that people that were coming next to me or that I caught up to, they actually were syncing with me, get down, get up, jump. So I coached myself on that one just to get through it. Something that I did differently opposed to all of the other Hyrox events, I've never done it before, but I took those carbohydrate gel things and I just sort of stashed them in my bra. I strategically used one after the burpee broad jumps to get me through the run and that sort of next leg. And I knew up until the burpee broad jumps, after that, I would be like ready for it. And then I also used it again just before the wall balls on that last lap. That was my slowest lap. That was the one that was 7 minutes 20. But I think I knew what I was going in for and I knew what I wanted to do with the wall balls. So I somewhat preserved myself in that run and really tried to get my heart rate down. As I was running into the in-arch on exercise number 8, you've got the crowd along the sidelines there. As I've ran in, I've looked at this girl and I've gone, going into the wall balls, if you know, you know. But my goal in the wall balls was to get that 100 unbroken again after completing all of the Hyrox events. So I knew that I had some fatigue and some mental strength that I really had to push through to achieve that. What made it so great and so ambitious that I absolutely wanted it was about 4 days before the New Zealand Hyrox event, Linda, one of our members here, kindly sent me one of Hyrox's latest reels, and it was about the Red Bull 100. This Red Bull 100 is just a patch, and essentially I've been collecting them all and putting them in the boot of my car, so I really should just take a photo and show that. But I've been collecting all these patches. Anyway, the Red Bull 100 is another patch. I don't know what it looks like, but you can only receive this patch if you complete 100 unbroken wall balls at the end of your solo event. It had to be at the New Zealand event and it had to be on that day. And it just so happened to line up that that was the day that I was racing. So I wanted that patch. The night before, I did do some visualization. I was staying in an Airbnb and the girl that I was staying with was doing some meditation, which was awesome. And it was a nice little prompt to sort of take some time for myself and my own mindset and really gather my thoughts and visualize what it was that I wanted to achieve. So I took a few minutes and closed my eyes, and I distinctly remember taking myself through the whole event, feeling the fatigue, but then specifically how I entered through the arch and how I faced the ball. I've got goosebumps literally thinking about it right now. That's how powerful visualization is. Your body and your mind don't know whether it's real or imaginary, and you can bring things to life, and I do it often in my life. So in my visualization, I got up to about 60 wall balls unbroken, and I really felt the pinch. I could feel the quivering in my legs from my muscle fatigue, and I can also feel my throat close over, which often happens when I push my absolute limits when I'm in here training at BFT. Now, in my life, I think I've only ever pushed my limits like that 4 times because it's fucking scary. My throat closes over, I feel like I have asthma, and I can't breathe. And it's really scary in that moment because you kind of don't know what's going on with your body, and you just want it to stop because oxygen is everything. So in my visualization, I got to 60 wall balls and I felt that feeling, and it allowed me a little bit of space where I could actually feel the feels, move through it, and work out what I was going to do when that feeling arises. And in my visualization, wow, I got some goosebumps. I could feel my throat closing over, but I also gave myself the opportunity to calm down, to understand that it's there because I am pushing. I have 40 more to go. You can feel the feels, but just keep moving slowly as long as you keep that ball moving and keep the alignment of your body to avoid any undue extra fatigue through my muscles. I was good. Well, on the day, I've approached to the ball and I've said to the girl that was going to be my judge, I'm going for the 100 unbroken. She's like, all right, girl, let's get it. I always center myself with the ball. I couldn't give a shit about the timer. I'm going to stand in front of the ball. I'm going to grab it. I'm going to stand up. And I'm literally just going to take a couple of deep breaths because when I'm in, I am in. I've gone in, I've done my, doing my wall balls. It definitely feels different in the Hyrox event to when you're in your own home studio. I feel like in the home studio, just with the surroundings around the target, I don't know, it just feels a little bit more snug and better. When you go into that Hyrox event, it's so open and so big. It just feels different. Anyway, different scenario. So I'm doing my wall balls, and sure enough, I get to 60 reps. No shit, exactly the same as my visualization that I had done the night before. So immediately, in that moment, I've been here before. I know what this feels like, and I know what to do. It's the most remarkable feeling. Please try it with something in your life. So at that 60 rep range, I can feel my throat closing up, and I was like, not today. I haven't come this far to just come this far. So I slowed my reps down, but I kept that ball moving. I got a handle on my mindset, knowing that that was attached to my throat, that feeling, that sensation. And I made sure that I was breathing through my nose, my mouth, and I just kept it going. Before you know it, I could hear the girl behind me saying 30 reps to go. And that's when I really kicked in and thought, I can't get this far to just get this far. 30 reps, just keep pushing. The pain that I felt, I'm not gonna lie, that was a hurt locker. And it was a different hurt locker than I've done in my training scenarios, because in a training scenario, you know, you haven't done 8 kilometers of running and all the rest of the exercises. You've maybe done maximally 6 minutes on each of the other things, and it's really broken up with some heart rate prescriptions. So definitely not the push that you're going to feel there, but that's the point of stretching yourself and doing these events. So before you knew it, I heard 20, I heard 10, and then we were on the countdown. I was kind of hoping the whole crowd around us would do a countdown from 10 to 1. Didn't happen, doesn't matter. I hit 100 wall balls, unbroken, and I think I walked, because I was fucked. And I walked up that podium and I was done. I dropped to the floor. I remember my elbows hitting the floor in that sort of fetal position. And I just felt so good about myself that you can put these massive obstacles in front of you, whether you personally put it in front of you or whether the universe and life throws an obstacle at you, you can absolutely overcome it. When you put in the practice and the pre-planning of it, it's building the skill and building the person that can actually achieve it. So thankful to all of the training, specifically Hyrox training at BFT, but also just the training in life and keeping up with your health, your fitness, your nutrition, to pull it all together, that you can literally just tighten the ropes, focus in on something, and go and achieve another great goal. So I really, really, really enjoyed the relay, but I really, really enjoyed the solo. It definitely has a place in my heart. Things that I would change going into another one, and yeah, I kind of caught the bug. It's been 2 weeks and I can get a ticket for a solo event, so I definitely will try again. But I am not motivated by beating my time. I feel absolute pressure on a time-related result. For me, it's about invisible results. So if I can clean up my ski erg better, if I can clean up my rower better, if I can move a little faster or jump a little longer on the burpee broad jumps, if I can run in the farmer's carry, and if I can get through that sled pull with better form and not necessarily better form, but a better speed about it, I might pick up my running. I've definitely changed my running now. I'm trying to run a longer run through the week, maybe up to 5-6 kilometers. And then on another day with our run and dip, I've now started doing some intervals, and that's a whole nother ball game, doing some intervals. I'm feeling it now through my obliques, my legs. It's insane. It's not affecting my other training, which is awesome. I'm still able to achieve progressive overload very slowly, and I'm also hitting some PBs, which is really nice to know that everything is still traveling really well. And I think that's the benefit of tracking, recording, and making sure that you're monitoring what's going on with your other training, your sleep, your nutrition. You really do have your finger on the button, so that if anything does start to go pear-shaped, you know exactly what it is, you can identify it, and you can fix it or put things into place. So yeah, then we stayed in a really nice hotel. We had burgers for dinner. I had a thick shake, that was awesome. And then we had a really lovely sleep. I think we slept all the way through to like 9 a.m. the next day. Went for a nice walk and then caught the flight home. I did come into coach the following day. Absolutely no niggles at all. In fact, I was rather surprised and happy with myself from all of the mobility, the foam rolling, the myofascial release, and extra massages here and there have really made a massive impact into my recovery and how I feel about the event and training moving forward. It doesn't kick my ass, I kick its ass, and it's really shown me that I am capable of anything. And even though I may get older in life, I'm now really exploring and showing myself that I'm not pigeonholed to just one type of fitness. I love bodybuilding, I love kettlebell work, I love cardiovascular, I like to run. I'm doing a bit of everything and really loving exploring all facets of fitness. So if my advice would be, don't pigeonhole yourself into one box of exercise. Try them all, because there's going to be different seasons of your life that they will match up for you, and it will always teach you something new, and it will always help you to elevate and progress further in life. So every event that I've ever done has taught me something, shaped me to be the person that I am, and absolutely love my life, and most importantly, love the process. If you don't love the process, get on out of there. Thanks for hanging out with me.